It is 6:30 p.m. on Monday, April 20th, 2026. I'm going to call the meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District Board of Directors to order. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting for March 16th, 2026. Davis, I have one correction, and I'll let everybody else chime in if they have anything. It says that
Okay.
oh my God, it says Taylor was present. Taylor attended via Teams.
I'll clarify that.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything on the minutes?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve minutes?
Move we accept the minutes as amended.
Corrected. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 2 is receive the comments from the public on matters included on the agenda.
What's all that? We got the two signings.
When you're done.
No, go ahead. When you're done, he'll pick it up.
Do you want to speak on anything?
You wanna speak?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's gonna speak?
Okay.
Speaks English better than me.
On one of these agenda items, or is it general?
So one of these agenda items.
That's the agenda tonight. So if it's one of the agenda items, we don't care which one.
Okay.
Yours. General?
All right, we have a
Yeah. Nobody else.
technical difficulty here, Davis. Wait.
Thank you.
Sir, did you?
All right, thank you.
Lots of jumpers tonight. I think we only have one thing.
Oh, I didn't got it. All right, that's it? Okay.
Is there a second?
No, this is,
It's empty.
okay.
Oh, this one's.
Thank you.
That's what I couldn't find.
All right, Mark Robin is the first yes.
I already mentioned my comments about the ADA, the steps and the phone call.
Okay, that it?
That's it?
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
With the new people here,
Okay, we have,
Can you go back to the podium?
okay, and I mentioned it a few,
No. That way you can get on
Sorry.
the camera.
okay, I mentioned there was an elderly lady walking up the stairs, struggling up the stairs. And I know we mentioned it a couple meetings ago, 2 or 3 meetings ago, and the answer was kind of, we're ADA compliant. All you have to do is call up and they'll open up the side gate and you can come on straight on it. That's good, but there's no sign, there's no phone numbers, there's nothing to say do that outside, so who do you call? So I think a sign in the front with all that information and somebody on call here that can talk to the fire department to get everything in here would make it a whole lot easier. We have a lot of elderly people in our community, and I think something should be done.
Thank you.
Kelly Burns.
So, been dealing with this a couple years since I moved out here. Runoff in the backyard, sinkholes. I almost lost my fence. I had to put in a wall to keep my backyard from pool and everything else been falling out. Edward Longoria came by my house on Friday with another gentleman, and he said an engineer is supposed to stop by today. No one ever stopped by today. And we're just trying to figure out what's gonna happen with that, because I got a huge gap under my fence. I spent $4,500 putting wall in, so I didn't lose my fence, my pole and everything else. My pole deck's broken now.
Can you give us your address?
Yeah, it's on there,
702
702 Stonewall
I
Jackson.
know where it's at.
Yeah, I spoke to you when it
I've
first
spoken to you a
happened.
couple of times.
Yeah, so, and it's just an ongoing issue. I'm just trying to figure out what do I need to do, what's gonna happen, because like I said, my pool deck's already broke.
I didn't know we were still having problems over
Yeah.
there.
So there's some builder, no, hi, my name is Mario. So Edward did notify me that he was supposed to take Right Solutions or someone to go there and take a look at filling in, where he has put the The wall.
retaining wall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we
Okay.
kind of fill it in. I know we had some staff issues today,
Okay,
but I'll make sure he follows up with you. I'm sure he has your information.
Yeah, he does, and he said, the other gentleman was there talking about putting in a drainage through my yard to
Okay.
help, but like
like
I
a
said.
French drain?
Like a French drain, but like I said, an engineer's supposed to come by, no one came by today, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay,
And
Does
that's
me,
what
I
I'm
talked to
hoping
Right Solutions, I knew the area well, I
Yeah.
know you guys have had ongoing problems originally. Have you owned the house the entire time since we did the original work?
no, I
so
think he bought it right before that, right?
Yeah.
Cause you lived in Arizona?
I was
Is
in
that
Arizona,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
we,
he was
so,
moving in when that whole thing
I
happened.
moved in, my brother's actually
Your
lived in the
brother,
house
yeah.
at the
Oh,
time.
yeah,
okay.
that's right.
My house, but he was
Yeah.
living there, so I
Gotcha.
owned it.
gotcha.
But that's when the sinkhole happened.
Yeah,
Pulled
so
out
we
a
fixed
tree.
so we fixed the area behind, and then the
Yeah.
neighbor's house next to you, catty corner, had a tree, and there was a bunch of.
And he has a huge sinkhole, we now share a sinkhole together.
Yes. So I talked to him as far as like filling in, and he was proposing the potential drain. One of the
Right.
issues that we were discussing and a little bit of a concern was, with that drain, I just don't know if it's gonna solve the actual issue.
Right,
The way river plantation was set up to flow and things like that, it's got
It's
a
right
lot
down
of
the fence
runoff,
line.
down that fence line, and the silty soils may just continue to eat up, so I just, not that I'm opposed to the issue, it's just, I don't know if it's actually gonna be a solution. I mean,
Okay.
versus replacing everything, there's just, it's all sheet runoff, it's not necessarily directly related to the district's drainage system.
okay, so.
I think
Go with it? I mean,
No, we're gonna look at it and see.
Okay.
he's working up a proposal for me, and we're talking about the design of it
okay,
to see what we can go with.
all right, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
BJ?
Hi, how's
Hi.
everybody?
Good.
Thank you again for seeing me, letting me talk. I came earlier to talk about the pond on number 16 of Biloxi, and I thought we had everything set up. I think we still do, but when I was talking to Karl, he suggested that I needed to come back to ask again. I'm not sure, but I just was trying to follow up with
Okay.
what he was asking.
Okay, I thought it was
So
set up for June, yeah, or July.
So when we originally made the proposal to Mr. Chrysler,
Mhm.
he said, talked about doing it in June.
I thought he said July or August.
See, I thought it was July.
Okay.
Yeah, July or August.
One of those J months.
Yes. And I was like, well, I said, it's better than no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll wait. But I didn't know if there was something, if it needed to be in the minutes, that we're still asking for it, or I'm just here.
Yeah, no,
Because
I mean,
Karl
I
asked me
think
to
we
come.
all know about it,
Okay.
and, I mean,
I think it's a go, right?
as far as I know. so-
I think we said he needed to reapply
Oh, we
in
did?
June or July. That's what we said in the last meeting.
Okay,
Mr. Chrysler would have to
reevaluate it?
re-ask us in June or July. Not that we're just gonna hold it over until the following year. That was my understanding of how we left it.
So,
I think Mr. Chrysler needs to make the request that we do provide that. To provide the
water.
water free for 1 month.
got it,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, if you wanna go back to him, if you want Karl to go, whoever wants to go back to him and ask him, we'll turn it on whenever.
Okay. So what do you suggest? Because I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Yeah,
I've been trying for a long time.
Yeah, let's both go talk to Rob and go from there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Everything else good?
Everything else good?
Okay. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it. Yes.
All right, Mia Sanders.
Hello, my name is Mia Sanders, y'all know who I am. Considering that I sent y'all a letter on March 17th about the March 16th hearing that we had through certified mail, and somebody signed for it without putting a date, but I do have the tracking number. So I'm here to also give that to you again. That is the same letter that we got in the mail certified. Also, today, asking you a couple of questions. In December of 2025, the district engineer stated that the FEMA-funded ditch repairs would be completed by hurricane season, which is June 1st. We are now exactly 41 days away. What is the current completion percentage? More importantly, will the district be forced to return federal funds if these deadlines are missed due to the years of neglect, specifically admitted in the December minutes? We cannot afford to lose federal help because the board failed to manage a timeline. Last year, the board barely approved a 10% rate increase for our engineering firm despite public concerns over our $90 per hour clerical fees. Given that our infrastructure is still failing and our MUD is in deficit, I am asking, can the board provide a cost-benefit analysis showing how this 10% raise has actually improved our drainage or solved the neglect? To the taxpayers, it looks like we are paying premium prices for failing results. Now let's talk about the 14 property list. It has been widely reported by the residents that a member of this board claims to have identified 14 properties in representation for appraisal adjustment. Under Texas Tax Code 41.03, a taxing unit is prohibited from challenging individual residential values. Can this board clarify if it is authorized any member to communicate with MCAD regarding specific residents' homes? Furthermore, can you produce that list of 14 properties for public inspection tonight? Public records show that properties linked to this board have seen market values rise at a perfect 10% rate for years, effectively freezing your tax burden, while neighbors on the same street see spikes of 18% or more. Does your list of 14 include your own homes, or is it reserved for residents who have vocal about the $144,000 billing area? While this board focuses on identifying properties for tax adjustments and issuing cease and desist orders for garage sales, our infrastructure is failing and our MUD is in deficit. Does this board recognize that using an official position to influence private tax assessments could be investigated as official oppression or misuse of official information under the Texas Penal Code? This is the certified letter I sent to you on March 17th, never heard back, and here is my public information request act for the MCAD situation. Thank you.
Okay, Joshua Alter. Oh,
DJ already spoke, so it's the same issue, so.
same issue?
Thank you.
Okay, all right, good.
I'm under the impression that I'm supposed to give you until the next meeting to answer all of those. But if you can answer any of those tonight, would be great.
Okay,
Is that all?
huh?
Is that
That's
all?
it? Sullivan said yes.
They were gonna
Who?
Danielle, you guys need to talk? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to.
Said no.
Okay, my bad.
Okay. Financial and bookkeeping. Oh, wait a minute. I do want to make a comment. And Taylor may have been about to talk about this when we get to his report, but I do want to make a comment. I want everyone in this community, not just this is being recorded, and I'm sure other people are going to see it, to understand that it will become hard and impossible for us to get contractors to work in here if, one, they are being assaulted, two, if they are being racial slurs thrown at them, three, if someone chases them down with a blowtorch, four, if someone threatens to shoot them. No one is going to want to come work for us, do any jobs. I've never seen a community like this. This is outrageous. Where would you ever find decent people that do that? You want work to be done, but yet you want to treat the contractors that are doing the work like that? Where? Where does that happen? That's not the community that I live in, but apparently it is, and apparently I'm blind to who lives here. So, anyway. Okay, that's my comment. Okay, financial and bookkeeping, Tiffany.
Okay. So we've got your transfer from your online account and your transfer from your Texas class to cover today's expenses. Made payment to CenterPoint Energy for utilities. We issued in between meetings the energy blank check, CenterPoint Energy, Dynamic Cleaning, Synaptic Integrations, J&K Tree Services, and the Lone Star Groundwater for permit fees. Today for y'all's approval, we've got your lawn services, internet expenses, bookkeeping fees, monthly lake management, maintenance and operations, your park rangers. This is your first time seeing these consultation fees that they sent over, so I've got that invoice attached to the check if y'all want to look that over. Then we've got your IT admin fees, billing to your joint drainage and STP accounts, legal fees for both firms, Your prorated insurance coverage. TML sent over this invoice. You guys switched insurance
Right.
providers. However, there was a time period before the new provider started the coverage when the other insurance company was still providing insurance. So this is the bill that they have prorated for that section of time that they were still your insurance provider. Then we've got your emergency alert system fees, your engineering fees, lots of refunds this month, new blank checks to replace the ones we issued, left off at $29,000 in your checking account. Your next page, accounts receivable came in at $65,000. We've got that transfer over to your general operating, customer returned and SF items, and bank service charges. Including your investment account, we have total operating funds of $1.4 million. Your tax deposit account received in just under $32,000 in taxes. We earned interest and service charges, ending balance of $93,000, and we are 91.47% collected as of 3/31. The total outstanding for all years of $212,000. Your next page, your capital projects fund, receiving in the accounts receivable from East Plantation for their portion of expenses. We've got today for y'all's approval C3 constructors. This is pay app number 11 for your wastewater treatment plant rehab. Infrastructure construction services for the emergency slope pavement repairs. This is pay app number 2 and final. And then your engineering fees. Ending balance, including your Texas class, is $6.8 million. Your debt service fund, interest earned, brings us to at $1.3 million. Your next debt service payment is due in September, and we are already set to go with funds for that.
6.8 million, are we close to bankruptcy?
Close to bankruptcy?
Just curious.
I don't think so. Your next page, your sewer treatment plant fund, received in payment. I think we're pretty good on that.
It's an honest comment, and it's the
It
truth.
was petty. It was petty.
It's the truth.
It's petty. I don't care if it's the truth. It was petty. It's below you to talk like that
It's
as the
the
president of
truth.
this board.
It's correcting a misstatement that was out there.
I didn't hear the statement. You made a statement
I didn't make
here.
up the statement. It's all over
It was
social
petty.
media.
It's
Whatever.
below you as
Okay,
president of this
Tiffany.
mud board.
Go ahead.
Okay. Your sewer treatment plant fund received in payments from River Plantation and your general operating and then East Plantation. We issued your Republic Services and Energy blank checks. Then today we've got bookkeeping fees, maintenance and operations, engineering fees, and then the 2 checks to replace the ones we issued. Ending balance of $27,000. Your next page, your joint drainage account. Payment in from both participants. We issued your energy blank check, and then today we have ICS infrastructure for pay app number 3. Your bookkeeping fees, engineering fees, and a new energy check. Ending balance of $10,396. Your next page, your profit and loss for the month of March. If we're looking at the middle column here, that's where we are at for the year, so October through March. Overall, things I always like to point out, your maintenance taxes, we're at just under $630,000 in maintenance taxes moved over so far. Your interest income, we're at $28,755 for the year, which is great. Total income of $1,109,000. Now moving over to your expense section, all of your water expenses are listed, and then your sewer. Onto your next page, we have all of your admin fees also listed out there. Bottom line in that middle column shows that your year to date we're in the net positive, so net green I like to say, $68,693. Your next page, your joint drainage fund. Zeros across the bottom there show that we've billed everything out to your participants. And the same idea on your next page, your sewer treatment plant fund. Zeros across the bottom show that we have billed everything out. That's everything on my report. Do y'all have any questions or anything that y'all would like me to hit on tonight?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
No questions? Move we accept the bookkeeping report.
Okay.
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Park maintenance matters. Who wants to go?
Park maintenance matters. Well, we've had some more trees cut down today and debris picked up. Stumps were ground. But other than that, there's not a lot going on in the park right now, other than in April they started cutting twice a month. I believe they'll be back here later this week to do the second cut.
Already growing up.
Also, it's not the MUD's responsibility to remove tree debris that you pull from your yard up to the Charleston Park.
Correct.
all the residents are paying for it versus you paying for it when you do that. If you wanna talk about fiscal responsibility, let's start at home.
I agree.
You got anything on park maintenance? Did you wanna talk about the trees?
Yeah, I just wanted to
Oh,
give
we
you,
have Mark's gonna talk.
I wanted to give everybody an update. We had agreed that we would start the process of replacing all these trees that we're losing. It's gonna be difficult to stay ahead of, but at least providing some trees annually will be better than nothing. So we agreed on 10 trees, and we've got a really good quote. We went with CIA board member and splitting it half. Our cost for 10, cause they're also gonna do 10, it would be $4,350. Planting half of that, if we share that, it's a good price of $1,800. We'll need 2 T-posts per tree, so that's about $130 that we'll need. That's just to tie it down until it gets a little bit more mature. I could not find the straps that's needed. Maybe Mary or somebody could help me on that, but I just took a guesstimate of another $130. You need 2 straps just to help stabilize it. The water tank, I know we've talked about the sprinkler system, but some of these trees are not going to be where the sprinklers would hit, even though if we adjusted them. And plus, being
Then you
new
get
trees.
too, though, don't you?
Right, yeah, that's, well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So, I just don't think our irrigation system will keep new trees alive. I know it doesn't at my house. And so we were looking at some type of tank. The tanks that you pull behind something, like a four-wheeler or a golf cart or something, is actually very expensive because most of those have electric pumps on them also. I don't really think you need an electric pump. You can just use
Should be
gravity fed, right?
Gravity fed, yes.
And so, I just grabbed a figure of 125 gallon tank that could go in the back of a pickup. And our half of that cost would be $175. Would you have any other recommendations, either one of y'all, on a way to spot water each new tree to keep them alive as far as a watering system?
How close are they gonna be together?
We got to determine that. We will need to just kind of spread them out a little bit. And we did decide that we would do it on the entryway first and then build out.
So you have a water line there to begin with, and so if you're going to do some sort of meter, it may be cheaper and more longevity to do it that way versus having to have somebody come out there on a regular basis and you just set up the drip system with an irrigation meter.
Okay.
Which, the tap is straightforward, and then the piping is really not that much, especially since you're not worried about hitting anything, right? It's
Okay.
underground.
Well,
so I can get you a price on
okay,
doing
if
something
you
like
will,
that.
because I came up with just a budget ball figure for somebody to water, and I came up with about $640 a month.
Right, so.
A couple hours a time, like 4 times a week, and then times monthly, it got up to real close to almost 700. So yeah, that we can compare that budget price with what y'all can provide us.
Is that hiring a company to come out and water?
I just
or is
assumed
it,
we'd have to either maybe the company that mows or maybe MOC. What? Yes, ma'am.
There are drip bags you can put around the trees, and you fill those bags with water, and they slowly drip.
I've seen that with like 5-gallon buckets also. I don't know, but
Yeah.
a little cheaper maybe with
But the
somebody.
bags work pretty good.
Yeah. So that's something we can talk about, but the figures that I talked about initially though, before we got into the watering question, which we'll have to figure out, asking budget price is $7,500, which is not bad for trees, getting it planted, and then the materials we need to make sure that it stays
Did we decide
straight.
to go with 65 instead of 45 gallons? I thought there was
We
some discussion
looked
about
into that, and the guy didn't give us any different price, right? He didn't, as far as the larger.
They're the same.
And then
Okay.
another company was double checked, and it was exactly the same price.
Okay. I don't know that we wanna do it till we figure out the water thing. I mean, do you wanna go plant a bunch of trees till we have the water, how we're gonna water them figured out?
How long would it take if we went with a drip system? How long would that?
I think if you gave us locations, we can start planning, see where's the nearest source of water and what game plan.
Okay.
So would you have to, I'm just asking, would it involve running it and you'd have a spigot? Because we're having a lot of people driving up and down Charleston on ATVs, motorcycles.
So it would be,
trucks?
No, it would be like a
All
rubber hose
undergone?
drip system,
Okay.
essentially, because you just want like, a steady
Okay.
procurement of water, you don't wanna waste any
Okay.
to, so it would be buried around it essentially in like a coil, is what I've
Okay.
seen them do.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
like a
see
soaker.
it.
So you would just run one to each tree and go around it?
Well, it just depends on the location of the trees, and that's where
Okay.
it becomes economical. If they're all within, a 100-foot run, then you're doing a 10-foot distance apart.
I can connect with you all and
Things like
we
that.
can
Yeah.
pick out
Plan that
spots
so we
and
can
then
together.
that'll help you with your estimate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Well, that's all I have on
Okay.
that for now, but, I was just thinking that if we could at least, because the trees need to be purchased at some point, and I know the CIA they're kind of waiting on us also, because this is a joint venture to
Right.
save money also. And that's why I gave you a budget price now of $7,500, but
I
If
just
the-
don't, I don't know how much that's gonna cost us to
in addition.
do that,
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. I mean, we all have a vote, so.
How long do they have to be watered? A year?
Oh,
They
easily.
have to have a
Yeah.
lot of water in the beginning
They
to
do.
establish the roots.
And how many trees are we talking about all total, roughly?
10 for the MUD and 10 for the CIA, two separate entities. We just,
But just that's initially, are we planning all over the
yes,
course?
each year,
So we'd have to look at each year,
yes, sir.
like I said, you mentioned a 125-gallon tank on a pickup truck.
It was just a
You would
thought.
need something a lot bigger if you were all of a sudden planting 90 trees.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
This would be a better solution, because the labor time for somebody to go and spot water.
They can move forward.
Certainly, and they have temporary systems that I know those guys will use to establish trees and things like that. So it could be something that could be picked up and moved, depending on the year, as long as the equipment's still good. So
Okay.
once those trees get established and get a regular watering schedule, then it may be something that you can just pick up and move to the next location.
Okay. So you would prefer wait, and then I can get with MOC?
What do we,
I mean,
Well, Tom,
in speaking with the irrigation guy, I will say, he said if you're gonna plant trees, you better do it in a hurry, cause if you
That's
plant
what I was-
something in
Yeah.
the middle of the
yeah,
summer,
but
you're
if you,
gonna be hurting.
if you plant them and you don't have water to them, are they gonna,
Just
are we gonna have to buy them again?
Well,
What would it
spot
take
water
us to
till we
put the
resolve the
water
problem.
system
I
in?
mean, you have a secondary
Well, it
option.
depends on the location.
Yeah, and what we could also do is set up a meter and some sort of tap or something like that you could plug in a hose or something, so you don't have to haul anything there. Somebody would just have to go
Go and move it.
do it without the water tank.
There's already a meter between the Braxton Brags,
Mhm.
and then there's a meter at Tom Phillips.
Yeah, so there's places you could pull water from where you don't need a water tank, and you could put it in a lockbox essentially that only, whoever can access it, so people.
Why don't we,
Where-
why don't we approve the budget for it and let them get that part ready to go, not necessarily putting them in the ground yet while they're working on getting.
That's what I was asking for, at least approve that, and then we can do it as soon as we can, because the heat is coming.
You ready for a motion? I'll make the motion.
okay.
I move that we accept, Mark's budget of $7,500 to put the trees in. It doesn't necessarily have to all be used. That would be a maximum number to come back to. And you can go ahead and firm up your end that we're gonna buy them, bring them, and you get with our engineers and operators as to when and where they can get the water to it. And once you have that, as far as I'm concerned, you can go.
A second.
Okay, so you're saying
We'll approve it
We're just
tonight.
approving the budget.
just for the trees, and then he's gonna come back next month with the irrigation?
No, they're gonna hopefully either get it done and get
Irrigation's
back
part
to
of the
Mark.
budget.
The irrigation
No.
is part of the 7,500, that's not what he said.
Nope.
No.
No,
No,
That's why I thought that's what you were saying, because that's not what he's saying.
Mm-mm.
What do you think?
No, the water's totally separate, that's where I came up with that,
Right.
a
The
rough figure of
$7,500
$640
is for the
a
trees,
month,
trees
that's a
and
lot.
planting and all that.
Correct.
I'm saying we approve that
Yep,
tonight, so you can firm it up with your vendor,
yep,
that our CIA can go ahead and do their thing, making our television out of them.
Mhm.
At any rate, so that you can get all that going, they start working on the other side, but that means you gotta tell them where you're gonna put it.
yeah, well, that's why we'll get together.
All that can be going on
Yeah.
this week, actually.
Exactly.
And you can get all that done, and we'll talk about the water when it comes, but, I mean, do
I
you
think
have
you're
any
waiting
idea? It's not gonna cost that much to do it, is it, just to put the underground thing in?
Shouldn't be too much.
Huh?
I mean, it's whatever the tap fee is, depending on the side of the water it is.
Well,
And at the very least, like I said, we can install a faucet bib
Yeah.
that you can connect to for the time being, and then we can come back and get an approval. So somebody's gonna have to water it for,
Yeah.
you know, the month until we come back for approval for the actual irrigation system.
well, and actually, if you're gonna do it, this is a time to do it, because we have our next meeting May 11.
Okay.
So we moved it up a week.
Okay.
Sooner.
So
Yep.
this would be the month to do it if you're gonna do
Okay,
it.
so, I'm ready to vote.
Go ahead, well, you made the motion, finish making your motion.
A
That's
quick-
okay.
I thought I did.
A quick
Oh,
question.
okay.
by
Yes.
chance? Google says the best time to plant trees are in the fall when they're dormant. So I think that gives us plenty of time to get things set up, as opposed to now, like you said, it's almost summertime and you don't wanna plant trees in the heat.
Okay. So what are we gonna do?
I'd rather get the water set up first and then wait until the fall anyway, that gives us, and we're
Okay,
not rushing.
Draw the motion, we don't go anywhere.
I'd like to find out how much the water's gonna the irrigation's gonna cost us.
So let's do that, Mark. Let's just get together, see
Okay.
locations, and then we'll come up with a number for the
Okay.
next board meeting.
We can table this,
Okay.
and then we'll come back with the water plan,
Okay.
and then we'll search even more on the appropriate, or the best
Best
time
way.
to plant as well. I know the CIA was hoping to move forward, but they may decide to do the same thing, but basically, we're just partnering with them financially, you know, to get a better price, because we're buying double the amount, but then we're dividing it.
But we're writing one check and they're writing
Yes,
another check.
yes,
Okay.
exactly,
Just wanna make that clear.
yep.
Okay. Anything else on park maintenance matters?
No.
Only thing I've got is, I just wanna remind everyone that there are no motor vehicles other than golf carts allowed on Charleston. Apparently, we've had motorcycles, we've had ATVs, we've had, they tore it up and it looks pretty muddy down there behind your house. So, yeah, anyway, that is a violation of the rules. You will be summoned and fined possibly, so, alright. Do I have a motion to accept park maintenance matters? We good?
Yeah, move we accept the
Okay.
park maintenance matter.
Alright, operators report.
All right. Good evening, board. Everybody should have a copy. For March 26th, we have connections of 976 with 32 vacancies. Revenues totaling at $65,325.52. Billed consumption of 6,582,000 gallons. We are at 93% accounted for this month with one leak repaired. We collected our 6 bacteriological samples, all came back good. You have your wastewater treatment plant numbers below. Everything's working within parameters, and the plant operated at 60% of its permitted capacity. Total gallons of reuse is 1.8 million, and your revenue just below that, along with your receivables and your consumption chart. Next page, production accountability report, 93% for the month, 93% for a 12-month average, and your 2 charts reflecting those numbers. And final page is a copy of your DMR that was submitted to the state. Again, all zeros to the right, no excursions or breaches to report. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Can we, put some more water in the pond?
Yes.
Okay.
So, last I talked to Edward, I think we had opened it for like a day and a half, and he had already hit its mark. Now, I know we have that one leak going into that swell there. I meant to remind Taylor about taking a look at it, but we'll look at it one more time, see if there's a way to fill that gap. Maybe we might be able to get a couple more inches out of it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
supposed to have a couple of sinkholes when we first come into the community off to the right.
Yes. Yeah, so those were called in a couple weeks ago. Taylor and I looked at them before the meeting. We'll come up with a game plan on those. But they are on a storm drain line that goes over to that ditch line that goes by the Red Bridge. So,
And what Mara's meaning is, we actually have it on the storm contract that we're currently
Okay.
getting authorized, so
Okay.
we'll have those contracts signed.
Okay.
Hey, Mario, I do have a question. I talked to another MUD today, and their base sewer rate is $78 a month,
yes.
where ours is 38. Plus, there's increases based on water usage.
Correct.
Is that common in most MUDs, or is that,
Yes, ma'am.
that's why most of them do it instead of the way we do it?
Correct. Yeah, so most of the buds I deal with, their water usage is on a tier level.
Okay.
So first 500, first maybe 2,000 gallons are your base fee, whatever it is. Your next 5 after that is maybe $3 or $4 more per 1,000 gallons, stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and I have one district where the base rate for the water and sewer is $152. They don't have the maintenance mud tax, so
Okay.
they're paying
Oh,
for it.
well, this one has
Yes.
78 cents, or $78 minimum sewer and $1.50,
1,000,
yeah, per thousand, yeah.
But yes, ma'am, it's common.
Yeah, okay. So another thing, that was brought up on social media was the $200,000 that we didn't go back, that wasn't billed at the correct rate. And for 18 months, we didn't bill the correct rate. And in February, we decided we would start in April billing at the right rate and not go back and assess people. Apparently, that's a problem. So, do we wanna relook at that, revisit that, and go back and assess everybody the 18 months that they didn't pay the new rate?
I can't help it if people out there can't understand that we're trying to help them.
We already made a decision.
I agree.
But we get to revisit things.
It's true, but,
And
how
I'm
many-
I'm asking you to revisit.
How many people have complained
Well,
about that?
apparently they have a following, so,
One?
I say we stand with what we decided.
okay,
I agree.
I agree.
okay.
I'm sorry, but back to the tree thing, I agree with Mark, not naturally, most trees should be planted in the fall. But I just looked up the Schumer quote, which is what you guys are gonna buy, and it says that it's best to plant in the spring to ensure healthy growth.
Thank you.
So do we need to relook at that, or?
But I'm just telling you,
Well, we
that's the
still
time.
want to know about the water, but I mean,
Yeah, that's
all
true.
I was asking for was approval on the budget that doesn't include the water, but it's just the purchasing and the planting and so forth. And then.
Are you gonna figure out another way to get them watered if?
Yeah, I mean, y'all can help us with that. You already talked about having a little spigot.
Yeah, I mean-
We can hand water. I mean, if I have to get out there, I'll do it.
A spigot that can lock.
Yes, it would have a lockbox on it. Yeah.
I'm just afraid of somebody driving over it. and-
There, isn't it? Yeah.
We can put it in a concrete box if we need to. They do make the heavy duty
No, we're not
concrete
gonna
meter
work
boxes.
Okay.
I'm okay with waiting a year.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely
With a
fine
little
with waiting a year and
fence
getting
over
it
it.
done right.
We can do that too. Yes, sir.
That's
The proper
probably-
procedure.
I'd much rather.
Especially if we put a drip system on that, Mr. Tim, we'll have to put a backflow permit on that.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we accept the operator's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Okay.
board.
Thank you, board. Okay, engineers report.
Alrighty, first item is the permits. Nothing new to report on the wastewater discharge permit, stormwater quality. We have posted the required information on the website and have provided the flyer to the operator to include in the next water bill. For water plant number 1, well number 1 testing, MOC is coordinating the contractor to begin work on plugging that well and taking it out of commission. For emergency operations, we're working on the ERP. East ditch FEMA work is underway. I was out there today and they were working on the upper section of it. They were pouring some more concrete slab, starting to come
Yay.
along. It's moving forward. For the east ditch maintenance, the ditch was cleaned out in the end of February. I do have pay vacation number 3 in the amount of $18,150. Just a clarification issue, last month we paid one, and it's because the contractor was actually quite a bit behind, so this is they've cleaned it 3 times, once in October, once in December, and once in February, so clarification there. For the wastewater treatment rehab, the final walkthrough was held on 4/17, and the contractor's addressing the punch list. No pay application this month. Charleston Park Irrigation, we're working with the irrigation contractor to figure out the spray radii for the location of the future trees. This will just coincide just for future knowledge so that we know if we can adjust it and things like that, so. For the Mosswood ditch rehab, that construction is underway. They were held up a little bit by the rain, but that's for the clearing of the work. Storm sewer phase 2, I'll be sending those contracts via DocuSign. I apologize, but I have them here tonight. Storm sewer rehab phase 3, that construction continues. Mosswood sinkhole, the contractors completed the work near the house. The channel was found to be in very poor condition. That concrete had settled quite a bit, and there was a large void under it. And so I've attached the proposal to do this work via the current contractor that's out there in the amount of $223,750. Looking at the entire extent that they'll be doing and the price per linear foot, it's right in line with what we had originally proposed. So this will just be the first in many sections that will be replaced along that way. Give me a second. And then the last thing on here is I did pass out that CIP plan. That was just one that we had provided for Tim as well, just make sure that you guys had it. That's just projecting the new things forward. We are going to start evaluating all the facilities over the coming months, and that way we're ready for budget season in September. So, just gonna keep you in the loop there.
Just so everybody knows, CIP is capital improvement.
Correct, sorry, capital improvements plan. One comment I would like to address as far as that FEMA money goes, just so people understand. We've continued to stay in line and in regulation with FEMA. If you guys remember, your original engineer had procured around $227,000 in the repairs for the Harvey thing. When we came in, that work had not been started yet. We disagreed with the original proposal, so we went back to FEMA and they granted us a cost of about $1.2 million in work to be done. So that is currently what we're working towards, and we're still within compliance and regulation as per FEMA.
Good.
That's all I have.
We need a motion for that,
For,
East Ditch, Mosswood Ditch.
Oh, yes.
okay, I'll make a motion, we accept the, estimate for the Mosswood ditch upgrade.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
And the engineer
We,
report.
the engineer's
Right, yeah, we'll
report,
do that in a second.
and
Separate.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it
there's
separate.
you also need approval on the pay the application for number 3.
You usually approve those under the bookkeeper report. I just kind of
Okay.
remind them that
Okay,
they are
okay.
part of my report.
Alright.
We don't mind multiple approvals just to make sure it gets caught, but it's typically under the financial. that we do
Okay.
that.
So we got the one motion
Just
for
for the Mosswood
Mosswood.
Ditch.
Do we have to sit- are we voting on
So
that?
we've got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
All right, now, make a motion for the engineer's report.
Make a motion to approve the engineer's report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Paul, we don't have any violations to discuss tonight, do we?
No new violations, Julie. Just the enforcement on the Sanders violation, and which would also involve the buy shops that are the owners of that property. And that's probably something we should talk about in executive session first.
Yeah, we'll go into executive last before we adjourn. Okay.
Sure, because it involves litigation, so we'll do that there. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, no problem. Okay, receive comments from the public on matters not included on the agenda. Anybody I didn't get first time around? Okay. All right, we are going into executive session at 7:14 p.m. If you would like to stay, you can stay outside. We, your cars, we will, or wherever, I don't know, was it raining still? We will notify you when we come back into general session. Other than that, we are, we will probably adjourn right after that.
Do we want to talk about the
Oh, yeah,
meeting
yeah,
schedule?
yeah.
It is worth, I just want to bring up that our next,
Wait,
our
hey,
regular
whoa,
May
whoa.
meeting.
Wait a minute,
Hold on, David.
Hang on.
One more thing.
repeat yourself.
Go ahead.
Sure, our regular May meeting date falls outside of the statutory window to canvass election returns. And so in order to meet the deadline, we need to move it up a week. And that's something that we've done in the past when there are, statutory deadlines that we're trying to meet. So if everyone's okay, if the board's available, we would plan to meet 1 week earlier than usual. So meet on the 11th at 6:30. Same time, same place, just 1 week earlier in order to meet the deadline.
Thank you.
We are back in general session at 7:53 PM on April 20th. Does anybody have a motion they want to make?
I do. In the case of Mia Sanders, I make a motion to include the owners and Miss Sanders in an enforcement lawsuit to collect the fines and expenses.
Do I have a second?
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And Tim abstained.
Thanks.
Okay. Any pending business? No? All right. Our next meeting, like David said, is May 11th at 6:30 PM. We're moving in a week earlier because of the election. Some results that have to be certified. And we will adjourn at 7:54 PM.
Move we adjourn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I just did.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.